Hi, Taylor T. Carlson, and back with another video for you. It's been kind of strange in the world lately with the pandemic going on, so a lot of theatrical movie releases and such have been thrown into disarray, so I've been going back and revisiting the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 4K with my home video releases. And there are, I believe, 22, 23 films in the franchise so far. Don't quote me on the exact number, but I'm going to do a series of videos where I show off the 4K Steelbook releases that I've gotten for these movies. Now, because there's so many of them, I'm going to split this into multiple videos. So right now, we're going to look at the first 6 movies, which comprise Phase 1 of the MCU. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, one thing I wanted to say, first of all, none of these movies were available in 4K when the home video releases first came out because the 4K thing didn't really catch on until a few years later. I don't believe it was until like around 2017 or so that movies started getting their first release as 4Ks. So a lot of these are later reissues that came out. So starting off, first one we got is Iron Man, the 2008 film that jump-started the MCU. It was the first movie in the MCU, and honestly, I still think it's one of the best. In our artwork here, we got a great shot of Tony Stark when he's developing his armor and testing everything out. This was the only movie in the MCU that featured Terrence Howard in the role of James Rhodey Rhodes. He'd be replaced for all subsequent films by Don Cheadle. Also has a great villain as Jeff Bridges playing the Ironmonger, Obadiah Stane. And his presence makes for one of the better, more memorable villains in the franchise. There aren't enough good things to be said about this movie. The first one in the MCU, still one of the best. I mean, the worlds have been developed a little more since then, but you can't deny where this all started. Still one of the finest. And then the second film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and often considered the black sheep and overlooked, The Incredible Hulk. This one was actually released by Universal, and I'm guessing there's legal issues that prevent them from doing another, direct standalone Hulk sequel, so he's mainly only been in, the team-up movies and so forth. This movie, admittedly, doesn't really feel like an MCU movie because the style of the series hadn't really been developed by that point. And on top of that, the tone is very different. And it's also the only one to feature Edward Norton in the role of Dr. Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk, who, of course, was replaced starting in the first Avengers movie with Mark Ruffalo. And we'll take a look at the discs that make up this set here. Here's our Blu-ray disc. And I actually bought this back when it was first released on Blu-ray, and it had a really nice-looking transparent green case and a lenticular cover. Here's the 4K disc. But I am glad to see that this one still got some love on 4K and got a nice-looking Steelbook release. Prior to this, I had a Blu-ray DVD Steelbook combo pack of the movie. And moving on down the list, third movie in the MCU, Iron Man 2. I don't think anything was ever going to top the first Iron Man film, and this movie largely does deliver more of the same, but it does have some great moments, including Rhodey stepping up and becoming War Machine for the first time. Then inside here, of course, we've got Iron Man doing his thing. Again, the sequel does take a lot of flack from fans, but honestly, I think it's a pretty solid movie nonetheless. Not my favorite in the MCU, but I wouldn't call it bad. Fourth in the MCU, we have Thor, the film that introduced these Asgardian elements into the MCU. This is kind of an odd movie because it doesn't really have a central antagonist like many of the others do. And despite that, it still has some pretty entertaining moments. It introduces the character of Thor, Jane Foster, Darcy, who is playing a role in the WandaVision series on Disney Plus now. And despite some of the flaws with this film, I still think there's a lot of goodness going on there. And it's worth checking out, if nothing else, to see where these characters got their introduction into the MCU. Also, I forgot to show off the discs for the Iron Man 2 set. There's the 4K for Iron Man 2. Here's the Blu-ray for Iron Man 2. Fifth film in the MCU, Captain America, the first Avenger. I'm guessing most of these Steelbooks artwork is based on the original movie poster art, but this was a period piece directed by Joe Johnston, the guy who brought us movies like Jumanji, Jurassic Park 3, October Sky. So he gets around and he knows how to make a good period piece. And nice artwork there of Cap doing what he does best. And they did a damn good job making a period piece out of this movie, and that always left me optimistic for them doing more films that are set in other eras. I mean, eventually we got Captain Marvel, which was set in the 90s, so that was kind of interesting. But anyway, here's our Blu-ray disc and our 4K disc. And we have just one more film to go in Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that, of course, is the Avengers, what everything was leading up to in those first 5 films. Now, in some other territories, this film was released under the name Avengers Assemble to avoid confusion with the old British TV series, The Avengers. And then there's the spine. I love this back cover with the Tesseract, which plays a major role in the plot of the film. On the inside, we've got another shot of Iron Man. Being the Avengers, I really wish they'd done a team-up shot here, but it's still a pretty cool-looking one there. And now we'll take a look at our discs. Here is our included Blu-ray disc for the film. And there is the 4K disc. Have you had a chance to pick up any of these 4K MCU releases? Did you get the Steelbooks when they were first released? Comment down below and let me know what you think. What do you think of the transfers on these if you did pick them up? Also, remember to subscribe to my channel for more content. I'll certainly be posting more videos of the rest of my collection here. And give this video a like if you found it helpful or interesting. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.